Today we are making Kratky jars.
What's a Kratky jar?
A jar that has cracks.
So today we're making Kratky jars, Kratky. And Kratky jars are a hydroponic growing system with no pumps, no bubblers, nothing like that. So it's literally just a jar or any kind of container. You can use a 5-gallon bucket for bigger plants. You can use bigger jars than this. Actually, this is probably about the smallest jar I would use because the roots are gonna get pretty big in there. And you don't want to have to be filling them up with water every day. So Kratky is not your typical hydroponic system. Typical hydroponics will have some sort of aeration or moving water of some sort, similar to what I've got over here, which is a little aerogarden, and it has a bubbler in there that aerates the water, and the roots grow down in this reservoir. And they get oxygen and water from the aerated water in there, and the nutrients are in there too. A Kratky jar has no bubbler, no pump, nothing like that. It's just nutrients in water and in a dark colored container. And you want a dark colored container so algae doesn't grow, because if the light can penetrate the container, you'll get algae growth. So that's why I'm using these amber colored jars. I'm transferring everything that I had growing in clear jars into amber jars because I was impatient and couldn't wait for my amber jars to come in before I started these. So I started them in the clear jars and now I'm putting them in the amber jars. The amber jars block out about 99% of the light, so you don't have to worry so much about the algae growth. So the basic idea is that roots need water and oxygen in order to grow, in order for the plant to grow. So in a system like this, in a Kratky system, the roots will grow through the net pot into the water, and then as they drink the water down, there will be an air gap between where the roots start and where the water starts. So in the air gap, the plant is going to start putting out aerial roots, which are roots that will take up oxygen instead of water, and then you'll have water roots down here. So these jars will need topping up. Sometimes if you use a big container, you'll have enough solution in there to last the entire lifetime of the plant. In this situation, I will probably have to top them up as the plants drink down the water, but I will never top it all the way back to the top. It's starting at the top for the roots to grow and to be able to reach the sponge up there. But when I top it up, I'm only going to top it up to about here so that I still have that air gap for the aerial roots to get oxygen. So that's the basic idea of Kratky. It's really just like the most rudimentary type of hydroponic growing. And this is kind of my first real experiment with it. So I'm going to see how it goes and I'll keep you guys posted. So far, my seeds are sprouting really nicely. And I will put some updates in once they get a little bit bigger and you can kind of see the roots and the whole system a little bit better. But for now, my assistant and I are going to fill the next jar. So we're taking the seedling that we had in one of these jars and we're going to move it from the clear jar to the amber jar.
Are we going to put these in the net pot?
We are going to put those in the net pot.
First,
but
let's start with.
I made a mistake. I have to go get another net pot. Give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. So put a handful of clay pebbles in there. And these are the clay pebbles that we're using to suspend the sponge in the net pot because the net pot is too big to hold the sponge. All right, that's good. Hang on, let me put this in. Wait. That's too many. Right. So we're gonna put this right in here. And now we're gonna put the clay pebbles around it to hold it in place. Go ahead. All right, my assistant got bored and went to color, so I'm finishing up here. So I'm gonna add some nutrient solution to my jar, and I'm using General Hydroponics Flora Nova Grow. It's a 1-part nutrient. This is half a gallon. So I put in a quarter. Let's see if this will focus. There we go. Oh, kind of. I put in a quarter of a teaspoon for seedlings in a half a gallon, because it's half a teaspoon per gallon for seedlings. So I'm gonna fill up my jar, and I'm going to just fill it until the bottom of the sponge is sitting in the water. So we'll fill it to, let's try that. That might be a little too much actually. We'll put our net pot in. Yeah, that's a little too much. Okay. I probably poured out too much, watch. Nope, that's perfect. Okay, so my water level is about here, which is gonna just touch the bottom of that sponge. We don't want to fill it all the way up, because then it's gonna take too long before we get kind of an air gap there between the roots that are gonna grow and the water. Now we're gonna bring it over here, put it in the light, and I will finish up the rest and show you what it looks like when I'm all done.
All right, it's all done. And this one in the middle is still in a clear jar. So I covered it with some brown paper to keep the light out, because I didn't have any more amber jars. So I planted these over here in the aerogarden. I planted them, I gotta lower this light down, about 18 hours probably after I planted these. But it's close enough that I can kind of do a comparison whether the ones in the aerogarden with the bubbler grow better or the ones in these Kratky jars grow better. I assume that the ones in the aerogarden are going to grow better just because they have oxygenated roots, but since I've never grown this way, I'm curious to see how effective it is, because if it is a good way to grow greens, this is really inexpensive way to get started growing greens in your house, because getting a system like an aerogarden can cost quite a bit of money. Luckily I got this one on a really good sale, but and I got a bigger one that I have in my bedroom. Actually, it's a farm system that can grow 24, it has 24 holes for plants, and I'm going to grow some bigger things in that, but they can be pretty cost prohibitive, especially when there's not a really good sale going on. So I'm just curious to see how these grow, and if they do grow well, then it would be really easy to just have countertop greens growing in pretty much anybody's house. So I think that's super cool, because I'm all about gardening being more accessible. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It can be as simple as filling a jar and sticking a seedling in there, or a seed in there. So this will be a really fun experiment, and I'll update as we go.